right, my next step is to sew my crotch seam. So it's going to be this shape right here that creates a U, making sure to have trimmed all of my seams. So in order to do this, I'm going to flip one of the pieces right side out, because we always want to sew our pattern with right sides together. So then I'm going to push it inside. So the seams that I just sewed, the right sides are facing each other. Tuck that in here. And then you can see that I'll get kind of this U-shaped with both of my pieces as I'm lining them up. And then that's the next area that I'm going to pin and sew around here. I'm going to first make sure that my inner leg seams are lined up together. And I'm going to use a pin on either side of that inner leg seam, because I really want to make sure that that inner leg seam stays open when I'm sewing it. I don't want the backside or any of it to like fold over like that. I want to make sure that everything is staying nice and open as I'm sewing. The next part I'm going to pin together is my notches. So the notches are the little triangles, shapes that you cut out in your pattern. That just helps so that we're keeping everything aligned as we're going. And so that's the next piece that I'm going to pin. Make sure that those are accurately lined up. From there, I'll go ahead and pin the top edges of my fabric. And again, I'm facing the edge that I'm going to have lined up on the 5/8 all the way around. And that way I can easily remove the pins as I'm sewing. From here, I'll just put in a few more pins, make sure everything stays nice and flat as I go to sew it. So for sewing this, exact same thing like we just did, a standard seam. So you're gonna line up the edge of your fabric on the 5/8 inch line, back stitching at the beginning and the end. And then because this is our crotch seam, this is the seam that if any of our seams were going to break open or anything like that, it's going to be the crotch seam. So we're actually going to double stitch our crotch seam. So we're literally just going to sew around it once and then sew around it a second time, back stitching at the beginning and the end on both pieces. That way it's reinforced. So now I have that area pinned.